Shadow Home Secretary Criswell.
Well, I thank the Home Secretary for advance sight of her statement, especially after her busy weekend chairing the NEC, which excluded Andy Burnham from returning to Parliament. Anyway, the Home Secretary's statement. Seems to be some concern coming from benches behind her on that. Anyway, the Home Secretary's statement is striking for what it did not say, because there was no mention, not one word, of her plans for total police officer numbers. And the reason for that is simple. Total police officer numbers are falling under this Labour government, as figures due for release later this week will confirm. Now, the last recruitment intake before the election was in March 2024, and there were 149,769 officers in post. That is the highest number in this country's history. By the same time the following year, under Labour, officer numbers had fallen by over 1,000. And in the current financial year, numbers are falling even further, with the Met alone saying they will lose a staggering 1,500 officers this financial year. So on officer numbers, the government is engaged in a con-trick. They are transferring officers away from crime investigation, away from 999 response and away from other teams into neighbourhood teams. So they can say neighbourhood numbers are going modestly up, but total police officer numbers are falling. So there'll be fewer 999 response officers, fewer investigation officers, response times will be slower, and investigations will not be as effective. The Home Secretary can set targets and make announcements, but the fact is she is presiding over falling total police numbers, and the public will be less safe as a result. Now, the Home Secretary has said she will change the structure of policing. Briefings over the weekend say this reorganisation will be complete in, and I had to double-check this, 2034, nearly a decade away. But we have a crime crisis today. Shoplifting and phone theft are both surging upwards under this government, and shoplifting is now at the highest level ever. Knife crime in London up by 80% under Mayor Sadiq Khan, and women are being let down too, with sex crimes up by 9%, rape up by 6%, stalking up by 5%, and harassment up by 6% under this Labour government. This requires action today, not in 2034. Now, her plan includes mandating the merger of police forces, and briefings over the weekend suggest a reduction from 43 down to 10 or 12. So a single police force might cover an area from Dover to Milton Keynes or from Penzance to Swindon. Such huge forces will be remote from the communities they serve. Resources will be drawn away from villages and towns towards large cities. And the biggest force in the country is the Met. And yet they have the worst crime clear-up rate of any force in the country. They fail to solve 95% of reported crimes, going to show that large scale does not automatically deliver better results. And therefore, we will oppose the mandated merger of county forces into remote regional megaforces. And police forces are warning that Labour's early prisoner release scheme means more crime and more demands on policing. Most criminals will now be released after serving just 1/3 of their prison sentence, and even rapists will only serve half. To make things even worse, Labour plans to abolish prison sentences of under a year, so even the most prolific shoplifters will never face jail. This is a recipe for disaster cooked up by the Home Secretary in her previous role. Now, there are some things we can agree on, because the Home Secretary has copied some things from us. I am glad that she is continuing the rollout of AI and live facial recognition that started under the last government, and we fully support that. It is right the Home Secretary will have greater powers to intervene. We announced that policy at our conference last year, and of course we support it. And she now says she will abolish non-crime hate incidents. Now, we need to see the details, but perhaps the Home Secretary could explain why Labour voted against that measure when we tabled it as an amendment just last year. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, in conclusion, The simple fact is this: total police officer numbers are falling under this Home Secretary's watch. 999 response times and crime investigations will suffer. Shoplifting, phone snatching and sex offences are all rising under this government. And regional megaforces will make things worse, not better. Her grand plans will not even be fully implemented until 2034, yet action is needed today. These announcements will not make our streets safer this year or next year, and the public will rapidly see that.